Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here in town at the center of Kampala. I'm going to go to Aristoc Booklets, which is where most of the books on the history of Uganda can be found. I came to where it used to be, but unfortunately it was not there, but luckily it is just on the other side of the road, so I'm going to take a look. I'm here looking for a book that is called Dungeons of Nakasero. I think you have all heard of it. The book is called Dungeons of Nakasero, so I'm going to take a stroll across the road and look at this book to bring you the history behind this book, which is a bit shocking. Stay with me. Where can I find the Dungeons of Nakasero?
Check out these local books.
Here, the local. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so I've been told to look here at the local books. I think the book should be around. Yes. Hello, how are you? Yes, there's a book called Dungeons of Nakasero by Mr. Andrew Lawoko.
There's one copy here.
Only one?
I'm not even sure.
Ah, there. Good. You have put your hand on it even. Thank you very much. Yeah, well, this is the... Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, here is the book. It's called The Dungeons of Nakasero, A Painful Experience of Amin's Uganda. It is written by Ward Okelo Lawoko. And this is how the cover looks like, so you can find it here. So I've got my book here in the bag, The Dungeons of Nakasero. So in this book, Mr. Lawoko claims that he was arrested by President Idi Amin and was thrown in the dungeons, and that it was while he was there that he saw President Idi Amin bring the late Archbishop Janan Luwum and throw him into the same dungeon with Mr. Lawoko. That's why Mr. Lawoko claims in this book that he was the last person to see Janan Luwum alive. And he also says that President Idi Amin then came back and they took the Archbishop out, and President Idi Amin himself shot the Archbishop with a pistol. In reality, Mr. Lawoko was the director of Radio Uganda under the Amin government and continued so up to the end of the government. And in fact, that very day, he was the one dispatching the journalists to cover the public hearing of Janan Luwum at Nile Mansions, and also Lawoko was the one sending all the broadcast equipment to cover the entire event live on Radio Uganda and also live on Uganda television. Former Radio Uganda journalist Charles Biekwaso narrated in the Daily Monitor, I quote, "From the studio, my director Apollo Lawoko asked me to prepare and head to the center for a live broadcast. I was to commentate in English as Vincent Senoga did in Luganda and Muzungukanga in Swahili." So it's impossible for Mr. Lawoko to have been a captive in the Dungeons of Nakasero, as he claims, when he was also the director of Radio Uganda, actually providing media coverage for the entire event. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so what is the true story of Mr. Lawoko? Oh, good, young man. Ladies and gentlemen, as I'm making this video about the Dungeons of Nakasero, so you can take a look at it. What I've done, I'm coming from Aristoc, and I've just bought this book. Yes, and I'm here narrating the true story behind this book. Actually, in fact, it's good that I've met you. Yes. The author of this book is called Wadokelo Lawoko. Yes, I know him. He was actually director of Radio Uganda at the time of the passing of the Archbishop Janan Luwum. Yes, and he was in that very morning at his office dispatching journalists to go and cover the public hearing that was taking place at Nile Mansions. And what happened later after that was the Archbishop was taken by Sergeant Moses Okello, and what happened was an incident near Sheraton Hotel at the junction of Kampala Club, where Sergeant Moses Okello shot the Archbishop General Luwum at that junction. That's where he lost his life. But in this book, Mr. Lawoko, who was our director of Radio Uganda, working under the Amin government, in order to save his own life when the subsequent governments came, he wrote this book claiming to be actually in one of the dungeons, and actually saw the Archbishop being brought there and all that. It's all in the book. You can get it, by the way, and read it. I think, okay, this was the last copy I found at Aristox, but if it just give it some time, they have promised that they're going to resupply themselves. So in order to save his life, Mr. Lawoko wrote this book so that his own people in the new government that came after Idi Amin would not slaughter him for actually having worked in the Amin government as the director of Radio Uganda. So it's quite a sad story, but it is I urge you to read this so that you can see exactly to what length people were ready to go in order to save their lives. I understand exactly what he was doing. He was saving his own life and that of his family when he wrote this book. So I do not carry any grudges with him. He, as I said, his son Andrew is also my good friend. We work together in the media. Hi Andrew, if you're seeing this. And what will happen? What I just want you to go is to do is to go and see to what lengths people were ready to go in order to save their own lives. Of course, it was at our expense, at my father's expense, because he was the one who was smeared irreparably globally in such works, but he did not take it personally, and he left this world with a clean heart without carrying any grudges to any of these people. In fact, it is me who is now bringing out these stories. For him, he kept silent and went to the hereafter, and actually God knows that he was very honest in some of these things. But what we have here is the book, and I think good you have brought out some of the pictures. There are some, I think it's, yes, there are some pictures that can be seen. All of this is in the book. I have asked Mr. Andrew, the author, Mr. Lawoko, to at least make a donation of some of his royalties to Ugandans, because those are the people, the person he is whitewashing in this book, the Archbishop. We caught that Archbishop instigating abductions and murders on the people of Uganda. That I was there personally, so I saw it myself. It is nothing that that was said, let's say, second-hand. I know it for a fact, and so I have been asking Mr. Lawoko, the author, to at least make some donation of royalties to a cause, a charitable cause in Uganda. Thank you. How are you? A charitable cause to the people of Uganda, and we let him know that we do not carry any grudge about him. We ask him to just do that. My good friend here is from the Democratic Party. We met a few weeks ago at their offices and had also some of these discussions with them.
Indeed, on April 11th, I was at the Democratic Party offices where I met some of the members, and I asked them to be considered an honorary member of the Democratic Party. We also had a discussion about the disappearance of the party founder, the late Benedicto Chiwanuka, who was at the time of his disappearance the Chief Justice of Uganda, and was abducted on September 22nd, 1973 from his chambers at the High Court. 4 months later, the vehicle which eyewitnesses had reported at the scene of the crime with registration number UUU 171, that vehicle was sighted in Mbale at House 49 Maluku Housing Estate, and as the police investigators effected the arrest, the person who was driving that vehicle actually escaped. So we call on President Yoweri Museveni actually to explain to the people of Uganda what he was doing driving vehicle number UUU 171, which had been reported as the number plate given to investigators at the site of the Benchuanuka abduction 4 months earlier, and has never answered about this situation to this date. These are very difficult historical discussions to have, but I was glad that we were able to sit in a gentlemanly and a diplomatic way to talk about Uganda, talk about the history, but Uganda also has a future. And so maybe this book and the reason it was written might help some people in the future in order to also claim, make some claims. I know I'm kidding, but that is...
No, but what you're saying is,
yes.
What you're saying is right,
Yeah.
because we used to hear from the other side of the story.
Yes.
So when you also get to hear from you people,
Yes.
then we make a comparative statement and find out what's right. Because all along we've been hearing from the other statement, what Amin did, how bad Amin was, but we never had an opportunity to hear from the Amin's side. So
that is true.
At least the current generation now can get to know, if you say they read such books, they read other books which are on stock, and we also hear from people like you who were there by then.
Yes.
Then we also get to know now what the true Uganda was, and we can now, based on that, to fashion a country that befits all of us.
Good. Thank you very much, and for these very kind words of wisdom, by the way. It is what most people should have done, particularly those in the media. But I've just met you by chance here, and I think it is your lucky day, because what I would do is I'm going to offer you this book to have a read about it, and maybe share it also with the people in your party, with the specific view of seeing to what extent people are able to go to save their lives from a fascist regime, because the Obote II government was really a murderous government that actually slaughtered all the people. Anybody who had worked in the Amin government was had a death wish on him, and now to save his own life, this is the strategy that Mr. Lawoko took for himself by writing this book and claiming that he was actually at dungeons of Nakasero on February 16th, 1977, when the Archbishop was assassinated by Sergeant Moses Okello, who actually claimed self-defense. I know Sergeant Moses Okello very well. He's actually went to South Sudan just after Nimule's side there, and I would have liked actually for him to come out and be able to say what really happened. I think the BBC at the time and other foreign journalists interviewed him at Mulago Hospital, where he was injured and where he actually narrated the whole story. So I have also written to the BBC asking them to release the transcript, at least, or the audio recording of what Sergeant Moses Okello had to say on that day, on February 16th, 1977, what happened inside that vehicle. After the public hearing, the president ordered Sergeant Moses Okello to return the Archbishop to his residence and bring him back the next morning. It is while Sergeant Moses Okello was returning the Archbishop to his residence that Moses Okello says the Archbishop tried to strangle him and murder him so as to overpower him and take over the vehicle and escape. And that is when Sergeant Moses Okello pulled out his service weapon and shot the Archbishop in self-defense. As for Mr. Lawoko, he just wrote a book to save himself from his own Acholi people who are now in government and would have just slaughtered him for having worked in the Amin government if he had not claimed that he was being persecuted by Amin in the dungeons of Nakasero, when in reality he was busy actually working for the Amin government and providing the full media coverage for events that day. I hope this part of the story will also be put out there for the people of Uganda to judge for themselves. Thank you very much, and good reading.
I will, and it will inform me more.
Thank you.